Morning, everybody. Welcome to the quarterly South Florida LEPC, South Florida Region 10 LEPC meeting. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Let's start off with a Pledge of Allegiance. I allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting instructions: if you're joining on time in the hybrid, you must register in advance. When joining in hybrid, please turn on the cameras and unmute accordingly. And I'm sure we'll struggle through that like we always do. I know I always talk when I'm muted and forget when I'm unmuted. So I'm sure it'll happen again. It looks like we got a lot of people online today. So I'll turn it over to Coordinator Haley and we'll get the roll call done.
Good morning.
Make sure you sign in too.
Yes. Please, if you haven't signed in, and your name, please, if you would like. Okay, going down the list, we have Russell Accardi, Edward Wolf, who is online, Gabriela Afanasiev, here, Travis Gladish, Junia Arana, Mario Ho, Brian Brown, Joseph DeLuna, Sigfredo Vasquez, Elaine Dondres,
Present.
Michael Garcia, Marcelo Garcia, Jose Tovar, Oriana Gonzalez, present, John Hines, Josh Green, Sarah Wagner, Peter Hamlin, Charles Grigley, Amy Hernandez, here, Clay Pacheco, Francisco Jacanetta, Crystal Schaefer, Eduardo Koenig,
here.
Ali Younes,
He's online.
yeah, thank you. Doug LaValle, Luis Valdez, Jose Lopez, Beth Reese, Chad Anthony Smart, Tamara Turk, Craig Marston, Zuli Hemier,
Present.
thank you, Yvette McLeod, Stephanie Alami, Mark Moore, Ahmed Navarrete, Carl Sadelco, Jesus Olivo,
Here.
Victor Roman, Caleb Cuello,
Here.
Darren Ramkison, Dee Dee Williams, Oscar Rodriguez, James Russo,
Here.
Dan Scarborough,
Here.
Mirtha Gonzalez, Pete Schechter, Corey Stiswell, Vince Carlson, William Senishin,
Here.
Shamila Lechman, Natasha Strogan, Carolina Rincon Beltran,
Here.
Marie Sullen, Julio Tejeda,
Here.
Armando Villaboy, Alvaro Tonanes, Julio Melendez, Vincent Torres, Caitlin Swathwood, here, Jason Weber, Tiffany Brown Francis, Keith Weston, Chris Runty, Kenneth Yost, Virginio Gallardo, Gabriel Zahora,
Here.
and David Reynolds. Thank you.
Haley, I do not envy you that you have to go through that list.
For anybody who
Yeah.
is not on this list, it's just that you're not an official member or alternate. That doesn't mean you're not welcome here, but also if you want to become an official member, and I didn't call your name, of course, feel free to send me an email with the information for primary and alternate, and I'll add you to the list. Again, you don't need to be a member to attend these meetings, but if you would like to be part of this outboard at LEPC. Thank you.
All right, next we do have an action item, approval of the draft minutes from the November 12th meeting. Everybody should have got the package and email package. So I need a motion on the floor to approve the minutes. Anyone? Anyone?
Approve.
Who's that? State your name so Haley can
Oh,
grab
sorry,
it.
AJ Navarrete. That Dream Industries.
And a second?
I'll second it.
All
Dan
right.
Scarborough.
All right, we got 2 seconds. Any discussion points, questions? All right, seeing and hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
None in favor, say nay. All right. The draft minutes are approved. We'll give it a. Love to use my gavel. All right, so filling vacancies and enhancing participation, membership changes. We have Russell Carty as member, Edward Wolf as alternate from L2 Defense. I know they were at the last meeting. I don't think Russ is here today. Carolina Rincon Beltran, alternate to Natasha Stroken. I know she's online. And they are representing Memorial Healthcare. All right, so the next point, kind of the recurring theme around here, and we've got a couple of good ideas, I think, on the table. The innovative ideas for the 25-26 new year. I know that I believe it was Natasha was one of the people that actually brought up possibly doing some classes for the hospitals. I know they've had at Memorial a ways back, just from some of the computers that they use there, some of the equipment, a lot of the equipment, I guess, is either backed up or uses small lithium ion batteries, and they have had issues just like they have on the airlines. It seems like some of these incidents are becoming more common. So one of the ideas was to put together an informational, I think a class would probably be best to get together. We do have a lithium ion training task force meeting coming up, and I was going to address it with that group to see if anyone has something that's already built out, something that we could use, or we could build something out fairly easy and probably get a couple representatives from here if they wanted to volunteer to teach it. I'd be happy to do a quick train the trainer or something of that nature, and then we could identify some people at the hospital to get those going. Thinking about it, one of the things that I think would be beneficial for the hospitals too, and again, would allow us to get more participation for our members and then some more outreach, is a hazardous materials, either a labeling class or identification or what to do with small incidents. I know that they probably go through CEUs every once in a while, or that subject pops up. But that's a good one to always get a refresher on for some of the chemicals that are going to be at the hospitals or that they use, in proper storage and proper labeling. I know that OSHA has a couple really easy classes you can put together on that. So I will actually take the lead on that and kind of put some stuff together. Do we have anyone from the hospital here today? I know we got Carolina online. Can you think of anything else in a package like that if we were going to do some outreach to the hospitals and either do a train the trainer or a class like that that would be beneficial to hospital
Yeah,
staff?
there's a lot of them out right now. There's a lot of the FIFA World Cup trainings and exercises that are being pushed to the hospitals right now. There's also the chemical threat exposure that Florida Department of Health does. I'm not sure they're doing it this year because of the extensive training, but not that I can think of off the top of my head. But again, I know, for us at U Health, the hazardous material we did this big sea burning exercise last year, but I do think the hazardous material would be beneficial, but nothing in particular.
Okay.
Um,
Carlina, could you think of anything? Oh, I saw you online there.
Hi.
The list?
As of right now, no. What we've been doing is we've been doing first receiver awareness training. But I do think that it would be really beneficial to have classes like that and trainer type of stuff for us to train the staff better here.
Very good. And I kind of taking into account what you said, you guys are probably getting inundated with extra stuff because of FIFA and everything else. So we don't want it to be, oh, great, now we got something else.
No, not complaining. It's been great. Trainings and exercises so far have been great, and they're back to back to back. So we're looking forward to them. But big focus on chemical threat, sea burning right now.
All right, so yeah, I'll kick that around with the training task force, see if there's anything out there that's already packaged to kind of make it easier and timely to put out. If not, we can, I'm thinking probably a half hour, awareness class on some of the stuff can touch on a lot of the points with just some materials to pass out. Would probably do the trick for now anyway. So once I do that, I have that meeting on the 25th. And I'll kind of come up with a game plan and bring it back the next meeting here. And I'll just make note of it that we'll probably look for some point people from this group to either be a stakeholder and receive the training and kind of coordinate and or volunteer depending on how many facilities want the training to go from there so we can get it all delivered. So very good. Another idea that we was put on the table was participation in the upcoming hurricane conference, right? Was that Gabe, where'd you go? Disappeared on me. Are you doing way back there?
Here. Yeah, I was late. Sorry. So
That's in May, correct?
yeah, I passed all the information via email to her so she can make. If you want me to come to the regular, do it, but I didn't want to hear so.
No, she gave me the bad news that a booth was what was it, $1,500 roughly?
Around there.
Yeah. So unless we get some type of special exemption or pricing, it's going to be tough to. But we'll figure it out. I think it deserves at least a follow up with trying to talk to some of the coordinators over there to see if there's anything being the LEPC, if we can work something out.
If we have the right conversation with them.
Yeah.
I know FIU is there. I know many universities and hospitals and stuff. So I think we can get a break.
Doesn't it sound like Gabe is volunteering to make that conversation, everybody?
Everything on my plate.
Add it to the list, brother.
All right.
I'll get with you afterwards. We'll
right.
just make sure we make contact. Very good. Let's see, another thing that we had, and I'm curious about this one. I don't know if we missed the timeline on this. There's usually down in Miami, I forget, is that FIU or FAU they do the emergency management program. Is it FIU? Does the drill, and we were talking about maybe participating in that. Did that already take place?
No, those dates, the field course.
No, yeah, the
May 4th,
acid.
5th.
Mhm.
All right, so that's a good one to follow up.
Yeah, the 14th and the 15th of May is the FIU Academy of International Disaster Program field course.
Gotcha.
So if you do bring equipment, I know they want staging earlier in that week. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, bring whatever equipment and apparatus you want there. And then the actual field exercise will be that Thursday, Friday.
I was just wondering if we had, any opportunity to just kind of get some awareness for the LEPC, or if there was any other roles that they might want us to fill down there.
What's the days again?
May 14th and 15th?
Is it Thursday and a Friday?
So
Okay. The usual
it's-
summer, right?
Hmm?
It was usually in summer, right, July?
Yes, but now because of all the agencies that participate and everything going on with FIFA, they moved it up so that, because last year it landed on the same day as Club Cup starting. So it was chaotic.
And it's usually a Friday, Saturday, but this year it's Thursday and Friday.
Did somebody online have something to add to that? I thought I heard somebody.
yeah, it's Kayla from WASD. I provided Haley with the contacts for FIU.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you for that. That was my next question.
absolutely.
Excellent. Haley has the contacts. Excellent. All right. Any other ideas for innovative ideas for the 25-26 year? Anything else that they would like to see the LEPC do, participate in? Any other big expos going on that might be a good idea to participate in, or a particular incident that has happened, or recurring problem that we need a solution to? Doesn't have to be now, just get with myself or Haley. But does anybody have anything else? Anything else I'm missing?
There's the
Super.
Disaster Expo. I think it's second week of March. That
Is
might
the
be
one
an
down in
opportunity.
Miami?
It's in Miami. They do it every year. It's in addition to the governor's conference.
Jimmy, the exact dates on that are March 4th and 5th, the Miami Beach Convention Center.
March 4th to 5th?
Yes, sir.
Jamie, do you have some contacts down there? I know that when we were with the city of Hollywood, they called us quite a bit to.
Yeah,
Yes.
I do. If we want, we can. I can share these. Either share those on the chat, or we can chat offline, so you can share it with the rest of the group. But I do have some contacts. They are overseas. I believe they're in Great Britain. The organizers for this event. So they really kind of communicate either early in the morning by phone or by email. So I'll be happy to share that.
Why don't you put it, if you can, if it's handy, Jamie, put it on the chat. In case somebody else wants the info for another reason, and we could always talk as well.
Copy that.
Another idea, just I'd like to have more ideas for plan A, plan B, or do A and B. Then not enough ideas, so very good. Anything else? Very good. All right. What time is it? Oh, look at that. We're right on time. Almost 10:20. So today we have Wayne Bailey. Well, let me not get ahead of myself. Hey, are we set with Wayne?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Presentation by Wayne Bailey from Blue Ridge Mountain Drones. Basically talking about the use of drones, integrating them with hazardous materials, incidents, and training. I can tell you that just speaking as a fire chief in the city of Hollywood, we do have a drone program. There were a couple in the county where the only once they started to limit where you can get your drones from and make sure that you have the proper equipment, and started cracking down on that stuff, and people needed CEUs and familiarization. I think we're the only program from the fire side. I know some of the law enforcement side has it, and I believe Wayne is going to actually help out the city of Hollywood with getting some more people certified soon.
Hey, if it helps you, sir, full disclosure, I've worked with this guy for maybe 15, 20 years. With NFPA committees and some certification issues across the world and the state. Wayne comes with a really good depth of knowledge and experience for public safety. This is his new gig after he left the state. It's great. I think that he's a really viable resource for anybody that's interested.
Excellent. Well, it's good to have an endorsement. Look at that, Wayne. So you got a cheerleading section over here. Just
I don't even owe you money.
Hey, Pete, the
Just
check.
get it away later.
Pete, the check is in the mail. Appreciate you.
I'm still waiting for mine, Wayne. But anyway,
Coming.
he's going to give us a presentation. I can tell you that it's come in handy a lot more than I even thought it would. Even in training incidents, propane incidents, it's got a lot of use, and I'm sure everybody's aware that they're just about everything they're finding a way to integrate a drone into. So take it away, Wayne.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I guess we need to get a screen shared.
I'm sorry. I know.
Yes, one.
I'm sorry, Dean. I didn't know. I'm okay. I'm just kind of old here.
Okay, Haley, I'll let you do the advancement. You have control of it, yes?
Yes, sir.
All right.
He's good.
Okay, okay.
One second. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulty.
Psych.
Okay. There we go. You're good to go, Mr. Bailey.
If you'll go back to the first screen. Great. Hey, thank you for the invite. Thank you, Pete, for getting me connected, and Haley for the communications and making sure everything is going to flow correctly. Just a quick introduction. I think you have a bio on me. Wayne Bailey, Blue Ridge Mountain Drones. Our tagline is, we're always up for the job. So I think it's interesting and fascinating that your regional roots come back from the Everglades Jetport, and it was aviation that brought you together today. And today we're talking about drones that are bringing you together, which is just fascinating for me. So I love to be able to keep up with history and what's happening. So we got to remember what our roots are. Next page. So drones and hazard material, with the emergency management, fire departments, whoever it might be interested in. But we're going to be talking about how the response is being used with drones. Next page. So why drones matter? Well, rapid situation is happening. You need to get in quick, sort of like firefighting. Get the wet stuff on the red stuff quick. You're getting real-time intelligence back to command. They can actually look at a suitcase-sized screen and actually see what's happening, and it's cost-effective. And I want to say it's a force multiplier. It's not replacing anyone. It's giving you multi-views, multi-sense, what it is to be able to look at what you're doing and make good decisions, and in the end, protect our folks on the field, right? Next page. So just looking at the capabilities of looking at a tank car, just a visual, that just taking a thermal from a drone, looking at a tank car, you can see where the product level is, whether it's full, half full, or full. And hazmat, if we've got vapors, full is not so dangerous, but just half full or a quarter full is more dangerous. So using drones to be able to get situation awareness and have that live video streaming back to command. What we like to do in my department, we'll use two drones. We'll use a drone to do orbits, and we'll put another drone on top of a trailer and let it just sit there live streaming without the props moving, and we can be there 2 or 3 hours without having to recharge or change out the batteries. So one's orbiting and one is stationary, setting on some type of trailer to be able to monitor the situation. And then mapping. If you need to get in some mapping or be able to geotag a location where a train car is, And the great thing with thermal, you can use them day or night. Next. So recon. So talking to some other subject matter experts that do hazmat response, they use drones to be able to go in for their initial recon instead of sending people in with PPE and trying to figure out what the problem is. Using a drone to be able to go in inside or out and be able to give that situation update to the team that's going to go in to do the fix. So it's definitely supporting the hazmat group, and the safety officer loves these type of things. They're able to get situation awareness and make sure everybody's got their proper PPE on while they're doing their job. Next. So this is the stadium in Charlotte where the Carolina Panthers play, the Bank of America Stadium. And I want you to look to about, let's go 6 o'clock. You see an interstate. So it's a public event close to an interstate. So if you have a hazmat incident, is there a chance this could float over to the stadium? And then if I look up here about 11 o'clock, or railroad tracks. So here we could have a rail incident to be able to flip over, hauling some ethyl bad stuff, and that could float into the stadium. So this is not the perfect location to have 50,000 people screaming, maybe half drunk, on a Sunday afternoon and with these incidents. So drones can get you quick situation assessment of what's going on, and even using drones to be able to tell which way the wind's blowing. Some of the enterprise drones, if you go up, it'll tell you what your winds are aloft and the direction that you're traveling. And that's good to be able to know where your plume's going. So think of this as being used as ports, pipelines, just getting that early detection what's going on. I've seen some departments actually attach devices to the drone and do orbits to be able to find the parts per million of what's happening with the plume. So I think that's pretty amazing. Do they get contaminated? Absolutely. You bring them back, you clean them. If they're not able to be cleaned and you have to trash them, that's just another thing you add to the list for the insurance company or the carrier to replace. Next slide. Search and rescue. You know, here is a train derailment, East Paladine. If you're in a hazmat industry, you followed this. And this was a February 6th event. It was cold, and the train cars had all kind of ethyl bad stuff on them. And in the end, they actually had to put charges on some of the tank cars to blow them up. They were so the ability not to be able to move them by crane. They were just, let's just go ahead and neutralize it in place. And drones were a big part of this, of getting situational awareness on what was there, what the placards were, and what the first responders were dealing with. So imagine this being in a small rural area. You don't have a lot of support coming in. You may only have one technician, and support is an hour away getting those regional response teams coming in. This is valuable to be able to live stream back to those teams that are responding, giving it situational awareness. Next slide. So training and readiness, you know, it starts with the FA Part 107, and that's the permit to drive. It's really the basics. The FA Part 107 does not require you to fly. It's really knowledge based. So somebody could actually get their license without ever touching a drone. So that's where the training comes in. And having scenario-based hazmat incidents where you use drones and get it into the ICS and response plans. I admire FDNY on what they're using with drones downtown New York and having that live situation coming back to command. And I've talked to those guys from FDNY, Fire Department New York, and when they first started with their drone program, you know, the chiefs are going, did you bring your toy today? Are we going to play in the sandbox with your toy? And then a year later, it's like, what the heck? Where's the drone? Let's get it up in the air and get some situation awareness. So sometimes it takes a little while to be able to ease these in, but once somebody sees the importance of drones at any incident, they're sold. Next slide. Here's a little case study, train derailment. So you launch a drone within minutes of getting on scene. Maybe you got a drone as a first responder program that you've just launched your drone from your fire department. You want to do an aerial recon of the waterways, find out if there's anything in the water. And this live feed is going back to the EOC, it's going back to the hazmat group, IC, and the chief. And then this data may be used for recuperation of expenses, making decisions, and planning. Next slide. This should be a video. It was a 10-minute video. And do you have the ability to play it?
Not right now.
Go to the
No.
bottom and see if it lights up.
No, it's a PDF version.
No worries. I think we can see enough here. So if you're looking at this situation, this is a snapshot. Think how a video would be more productive. If you look up to about 12 o'clock, you see some trains off the side. You've got a busy roadway. And over to the right-hand side of the roadway, you see a sheen. So we know there's something in the water. And where is this going? Is it going to a drinking water source? What's happening? So getting a drone in to be able to get over the tank cars, whatever that's being carried, get the copy of the placards, and now you know what you're dealing with without sending anybody in that could be dangerous. And this may have to be accessed by boat. So instead of putting somebody in the water, you're getting people contaminated. Now you're using a drone just to be able to do an orbit, to be able to get a situation update within minutes instead of 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. Next slide. So key takeaway, drones enhance safety. They're speedy to be able to get up. They're great to be able to use them to make decision makings, not based on what I think, but what you see. The value, the response, and the recovery, and it's a strong opportunity for you guys to have collaboration to work together. Next slide. So that's it. I try to practice the 3 B's: brief, bold, and I hope brilliance. Any questions?
Well, thank you, sir. I can tell you, you hit on a lot of good points there, but just to kind of put it together from a hazmat incident perspective, from like a hazmat team, two of the biggest challenges really on any incident, but especially a hazmat incident, are information. We always want accurate information, right? So, what the call comes in on and what you actually have, especially depending on, if it's bystanders or are people commuting, if it's a highway incident, the information you get is kind of all over the map. So the drones will do a really quick work of confirming not only what information is really correct with what you have, what the incident is, but real-time development on, is this situation stable? Is it getting worse? Is it, we better start calling the other Calvaries, right? In this county, we responded with 2 teams, and like that incident that you just showed, or if it's a big rollover and it's at the middle of summer and you've got product all over the place, we'll definitely have 3 teams there, and then put a couple other teams on standby, just because before we even get rolling, we know that we're going to have heat exposure difficulties and everything else. So number 1, just getting that accurate information. And number 2, when we get all pretty dressed up in our class, level B or level A, and by the time we do safety checks, that reflex time is probably another 10 minutes, 12 minutes before you can send somebody downrange with, trying to get a visual, a monitor, a camera to get back to command pre-drone. So the drone shows up with the hazmat team, or whatever the situation is with the local response. Down here, it shows up with the hazmat team. 1 person can operate that, and that goes, again, like Wayne said, it goes right to command. It'll go right to the hazmat group, and they're looking at it on big monitors in the back of an SUV. You're not looking at the information on tiny monitors. The ability now of these drones, tiny drones, to get, in confined spaces and hard to reach spots, And then the opposite, we have a lot bigger drones that we can take our specialized gas meters, or if you got a specialized meter or instrument that you want to put on a drone, you can do that too. Even in the city of Hollywood, use drones a lot on the law enforcement side and beach safety as well. So I don't know if you guys have seen on Instagram, they have the drone that throws the life preserver out. So in conditions where lifeguards might be trying to get out to somebody, or they need additional help, they can actually drop some life-saving preservers and stuff out to victims out there as the team is getting out to them. So lots of uses, not just hazmat. I know we're concentrating on hazmat here, but very good. So Wayne, does the company you represent, Blue Ridge, do they have is that, forgive my ignorance on it, do you guys have like packaged trainings in for teams, or do you guys have teams that could somebody could have you guys respond, or is it just retail sales and training? Well, what does it look like? What services?
It's educational. We don't sell any hardware, strictly educational. So if you needed the 107 class, we typically do that in 3 days. If you need a thermography class, we can do that usually in 8 hours. So drone mapping, you want to map out the hazmat incident, like at Palestine, that's usually an 8-hour class. But we're not one to be able to respond and have us on retainer.
Got so you guys are training up the teams that are going to basically be the responders. So
yes,
very good. Well, I thank you for your services. Like I said, talking to the special ops chief in Hollywood, now that I'm officially retired, we had a conversation the other day, and I believe you guys are going to be doing something down here shortly.
Yes, we're going to be down there and looking forward to it. And actually, our corporate office is in Hollywood. So
okay.
I'm in the Asheville branch, and when it gets too cold in December, I always got to come hang out at the main office in Hollywood to thaw out.
Bring your flip-flops.
And
Hey
club.
Wayne, do you have solutions for people that need to reapply because their drones are now banned for use because of the manufacturing and some of the ridiculousness going on?
Right.
Do you guys have options for helping them get funding?
Florida is special. What can I say?
Say the least.
DJI drones were banned from Florida, period. And other states have banned maybe 2 or 3, but the law says you can continue to fly your DJI drones until they wear out. There'll be no new technology introduced to the states. So what you've got is good for 3 to 5 years. So I know, talking to Lake County, I think they got a grant from the state that was used to replace the DJI drones. We're doing a class for them coming in May, I believe. And so they
We got a reimbursement. Yeah, a reimbursement grant for the DGIs that we did have. That was one good thing that the state did do after basically shutting down everything that DGI was so popular. It's just they dominate the industry down here. But pardon the interruption, but that's how it worked for us. Is they did a pretty generous buyback, as it were. So now I've got a bunch of
25,000?
DJI lithium-ion batteries laying around.
25,000, I believe.
What was that?
I think it was 25,000 for the buyback.
Yeah, something in that nature. I remember signing off on that one pretty quick. And
I believe that there's money left over, and so I think they're giving it away as grants now.
Excellent. So we made it out okay down here, Pete. But I guess if it still amazes me when you travel around the state. Sometimes the information is, you think it's out there, people have it, but they don't have it. So if you run into anybody, yeah, that's the way to go about it. Is and that was through the fire marshal's office, I believe, right? Or was that from the emergency management side?
I'm not sure. Whoever was giving out the money for the replacement, that would be the group that you want to get with.
Very good. Well, thank you, sir, and we'll be glad to have you down here, training up the responders in the area.
All right, thank you for the invite.
He's still on. No, he's still on, I believe. No. Never mind.
I can reach it. What do you need? Do you have a question?
No, it was totally off subject to kind of liven the.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Wherever he was sounded great because the music in the background.
I think it was at Margaret.
That's what I was trying to say.
In Hollywood. I almost said something.
Yeah.
Were you at the band shell?
So that was it.
Yeah, no, I almost asked him in the beginning before I even heard the music. I'm like, oh, it looks like you're in a pretty decent spot where
Yeah,
you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was just sitting in front of a fake background or not. Yeah. They were socializing over there.
He lives outside of Asheville. It's really nice.
Very good. All right, so for the chair's report, January 2026 CERC meeting. If you are unaware, usually the January meeting is a well-attended meeting. They give out awards. It coincides with the Florida Hazmat Symposium. So this year was no exception. So a lot of good things, besides being the beginning of a new year and getting everything started, there was a lot of good stuff that was brought up. So first on the big meeting agendas was the statewide training task force for hazmat. Pat Fiegel, Chief Fiegel from Ocala, took over recently the training task force from Chief Lamb, who was the chair for many years, from Cocoa, who's getting ready to retire, is kind of disengaging with some stuff. Chief Lamb was up there. But the mission of the task force this year is to kind of, they call them the projects or the things that get brought up in the meeting that they're supposed to investigate are called project boxes. And there's a lot of project boxes that are out there that don't necessarily tie in directly with the original intent of the task force. Yes, they're hazmat related, or they've gotten to a point where the task force has done everything that they really can, and they really need to be kind of downsized. So one of the big things that Pat wants to accomplish as the chair is to have some extra meetings for the task force, which means extra Zoom meetings for those involved, including myself, but kind of whittle away some of the project boxes that don't need to be there and concentrate on actually training first responders and other stakeholders on a lot of the ongoing threats or incidents. Lithium ion obviously is a big one. This year, Florida's always got the potential for mass casualty incidents, but with FIFA and a lot of the big events that are happening throughout the state, it seems like we're definitely becoming a destination for a lot of larger conventions, especially up in the middle of the state, that they're concentrating on Seaburn for mass casualty and a couple other projects there. Propane and responding to gas emergencies is another big one. You get a lot of development, and I can just tell you, even just here in South Florida, the infrastructure, even though it's a lot newer than other places in the nation, we've outgrown a lot of our infrastructure for the gas pipelines that are around. And I'll tell you, as a first responder to hazmat, it's probably the most common legitimate call where we have to do something that we get on a daily basis. It's not unusual for the hazmat teams down here to run 3 or 4 of those in a shift, talking about just this county alone. Ranging from anywhere from a small gas leak at a residence to major pipeline or commercial or residential or at a big building. I know you guys all see the big high rises going up and digging up the streets and everything else. And what happens is everybody sooner or later those pipelines get affected and cause a gas leak. So that was one of the big ones. The lithium ion committee, which kind of got its fingers into a lot of things over the last couple of years, paired up with the study, which started out as an EV burn to test out tactics and to work towards kind of testing the SOG that we came up with for fighting these incidents, turned into testing firefighters, testing bunker gear, air monitoring, soil monitoring, etc. And I'm probably forgetting something else, but that became a huge project. So that alone should be wrapping up. And what we're going to do is kind of downsize how many people and stakeholders are on that working group, the lithium ion working group, and kind of get some stakeholders that have contributed a lot or that need to still stay on. We do have a draft policy that will be finalized. I know as far as tactics, one of the big things I want to start looking at that Europe does when fighting these EV fires is looking at adding positive pressure ventilation into it, just knowing how bad all the off-gassing and the products when these batteries go into thermal runaway, whether they're small batteries, an EV, or a battery energy storage system. That's probably the biggest issue, is not only are they extremely flammable, as we've proved time and time again, but they're highly toxic environments too. And I can tell you from being a part of the study, even with all your PPE on, your biomarkers and everything that they tested on us as guinea pigs was showing up with brand new bunker gear, safety checked. I was probably the furthest one away from the burning EV when we did the live burn, and you can tell products of combustion were definitely absorbed and through the PPE and using breathing apparatus. Now, I will say a lot of that stuff in the testing that we did, the next week and the month and everything else, a lot of that stuff did dissipate. But there definitely have been incidents in this state where there's firefighters that are definitely very ill and to varying degrees. At one incident that I recall, and far away from the hot zone, that 3 firefighters were severely affected. Just a subtle wind change. Not that the crews there did everything right, and you still have some members that are being affected. So that, and another thing for the lithium ion committee to work on is just getting the word out with proper usage and disposal. I think everybody in this room has been using batteries their whole life and probably throw a lot of batteries in the garbage that we should, the old alkaline batteries and everything else that you're supposed to dispose of properly, but it seems like an innocent enough thing to do to get those in the garbage. And we know from one of our last presentations that's a big problem with lithium ion. And I can tell you that there's an increasing amount of events that have been happening there. So that was one of the big things at the training task force meeting, the electrical vehicle working group and the hazmat team assessments. So speaking of drones, the hazmat team assessments from the state is a really good thing for anybody that has hazmat capabilities, whether they have a regional team like we do down here in Broward County, or just a small first response team to kind of see where you measure up and do a needs assessment. For people in the fire department side that have to try to get budgets and answer to City Hall, it's a really good tool to get assessed and say, hey, we need this. And, it's the state of Florida telling us that we're, sorely in need of more staffing, et cetera, et cetera. Just kind of give you a line in the sand. What happened was the state did contract out with a company that is doing a very good job of Number one, they got the self-assessments for the teams to kind of get ready on their own. They were very transparent about what they want to accomplish, what the new assessment's going to look like, and they're rapidly moving through. They just started at the end of January, and I think they're going to be down here in a couple weeks to do the teams in Miami-Dade and in Broward County as well. And they added a drone component to that testing. So any special operations discipline, hazmat, the drones, and TRT, if you want to get that assessed as well, that's going to be assessed, and they're doing a really good job of getting that done. And that's something that's been lingering, speaking of project boxes, as something that needs to be done for the hazmat teams for the past couple of years. And COVID didn't help, but I can tell you the last real assessment from the state that we got from the hazmat side of the house was probably 2020, 2019, 2020, somewhere in that neighborhood. So they're definitely needed. And the assessment itself was vastly improved over the old assessment. The offshore hazmat program is now, I know we've talked about it in this room many times before. The offshore hazmat program is a project that the CERC worked with the Coast Guard, and basically anything that is offshore and they want to get a quick recon, obviously it would be the Coast Guard's ultimate responsibility, but to mobilize and get resources, sometimes is a day away. So what they're doing is leveraging capabilities that a local response team would have, and being able to, hey, this is the situation we have. It's getting worse. It's getting better. If it's a life safety issue, address that. Or if it's, this is safe enough for this ship to come into port, or we've got to keep this outside, or whatever the situation is. So with vast improvements over the pilot program, lessons learned over the last couple of years, and being very responsive to the input, especially from the teams down here in South Florida, on some of our suggestions, that that class is now offered from Resolve, and Nova is the funder, the grant funder that makes that happen. And I can tell you the Coast Guard is very impressed with the capabilities and what that class is producing. And they're actually using that as a model, and putting that in other parts of the country as a best practice, to try to get something instituted in a couple other states. I can't recall the two other states that are really looking hard at it right now, but I assure you it was a long road. I think that project, as far back as I can remember, I mean, we're talking about 9 or 10 years to get this thing off the ground, and to get it where it's at today. And now it's a deliverable class. So it's a 3-day course, maritime dangers and procedures. They do it right here at Resolve. There's a minimal amount of equipment that the teams would need to bring. They only ask that per class that you have not only hazmat personnel respond, but at least one of your members, 2 or 3 is probably better, to be also TRT, the technical rescue qualified. Because the first thing that we do in hazmat is phone a friend when we need somebody else from special operations, and we need some gadgets to help us just boarding the ships, and anything that we might run into in these confined spaces on some of these bigger ships. That all falls under kind of a technical rescue umbrella. So that was something that got added to the course. So they asked that if you do want the course, that you bring a TRT guy with you. So I know I don't have, I believe it was April was going to be the next delivery. And Chief Fiegel, who took over the task force, as I said, and Rob Dietrich, from FDEM, are working to identify other training courses that will benefit first responders. So I would imagine by the time we do our April meeting in St. Augustine, when we come back and do our May meeting, we'll have some other classes that may be available to any stakeholders down here that it might be applicable to. We'll add it to the hospital's list on more classes that you guys have to take this year. We also did the awards. So for us, so the Thomas Itabi Award, we nominated BSO Captain Virginia Gallardo. He's kind of like my guy Pete over here. Anytime I need something done, you have your key people that you call and you make sure that you keep them in the loop because you know that they're actually going to follow up and get you some good product. I can tell you that Virginia was instrumental in making that Publix drill that we did, where we ended up having over 15 agencies, both public and private, participate in that ammonia drill that we did last year.
That was cool.
And that was another big success, and that was and to no small part of what Virginia did, but also a lot of projects or just information. You know, he probably is going to block my numbers soon, but he was well deserving of getting the award. I don't know how he pulled it off, but he had no idea that he was getting the award up until the actual meeting where we told him, we made up an excuse and told him why he had to be at this meeting instead of being in class. And he was definitely surprised when he got the award. So that's who we gave our award to. All right. Vice Chair's report. As you can see, we have no vice chair here. Chief Brown is actually teaching a class today, a week-long class that he could not get out of, and his backup failed to back him up. So I'll be Chief Brown for a minute. I actually was on the call. Something that we've discussed also over the past year. We were working on an exercise, TTX with FEMA. We won, meaning this region won a grant to participate with FEMA to do a tabletop exercise, discussion based, to test out the emergency response plan, which was the big project that we've been working on really the past couple of years, but last year's big product that we produced was a vastly improved and usable document, which is the emergency response plan for the region. It's something that we need to take a look at every year and either add to, take away, kind of give it our seal of approval, and then the state gives it their seal of approval. So we submitted our plan to FEMA with the intent on trying to get it tested and come up with a scenario for a tabletop. As you guys know, it seems like every couple months we run into obstacles with the government doing either a shutdown or a partial shutdown. So that was really where we left off at the end of last year. Basically, we were supposed to have this drill in November. And a lot of people in this room were going to be able to attend and be stakeholders, or just from an emergency management side, see how things went. And the drill was going to be the same ammonia call that we had, that we did the drill for out in Publix up in Deerfield. So basically an ammonia leak next to train tracks in a highway, almost like what Wayne was showing us there. Talking about a major ammonia leak. That facility is over 1 million square feet of refrigerated and frozen storage. So that they still use ammonia over there for that, to keep things cool, so to speak. I can tell you that we were pretty much done with the planning when all that stuff started. And now the FEMA team that we are working with, I've got one person, the point person is the only person that is still on that team. He does have a team back. We had the meeting last week before Homeland Security shut down again. And the vote was to just not necessarily scrap the ammonia incident and everything that we've done up to this point. But being that there's, and likewise, since it took even longer than it was supposed to for planning, on the fire department response time, there's all new promotions and some different players in there from the emergency management side. We were going to use the Hollywood EOC. There's a new emergency manager. Mr. Hernandez, who's on the line, is now down in Homestead. So basically the vote was to start planning over. So we're going back to square one. So the only piece of information I don't have from Chief Brown is when we were going to resume again. The vote was taken to basically try to get that done by August. So a little bit tighter timeline, which definitely can be done. However, I don't know with this recent shutdown, what's going to be affected and when we could just start planning again. So hopefully we'll see. So I'm anxious to get that tabletop done just because it's a real test. It's never been done to my knowledge in this county. So it at least hasn't been done in the past 15 years, and any real capability to test from the emergency management side some of the documents, which is one of the major deliverables in our responsibility as the LEPC to the state. So I'll keep you guys posted on that as soon as we get Homeland Security back up and running. Peak WMD was some software that we provided to the hazardous materials teams last year. The teams were able to renew it's a subscription base, just like everything seems to be nowadays. It's a very usable, and just like the drones, a very beneficial piece of software for these teams to have for the research component. So I know we gave it to, I believe, 13 teams. Haley, does that sound familiar?
I believe 11 might
Okay.
have been, but
And just about everybody renewed. And that actually didn't come out of our funding dollars this year, although some of the teams were begging us to pay for them. But when you break it down, that it was a big cost looking at everybody, but when you break it down per team and jurisdictions, it's a lot more palatable for a fire chief or a team to take 1/13 of that whole subscription bill. So I know that training is ongoing with that. The hazmat symposium was another huge success. I can tell you that it was slightly affected by all the government shutdowns with the HMERP grant that funds the symposium itself and all the people that we send up to the symposium. It almost came down to the last minute, even though everything was approved in writing from the last government shutdown. They didn't even know if they were going to have this symposium. And it ended up being, I think, attended by about 575 people, including the instructors, which is a couple people less than what it peaked at the year before. But with a whole new reorganization there and not knowing if it was ever going to happen, and with a lot of the stuff, even from the government tightening on who is going to send people and how many people they are going to send for travel, for a lot of the DOGE efforts, a lot of these stakeholders were affected. It was a really good attendance. So I mean, I don't think that there was more than 75 people less than there were. It wasn't noticeable, up there. And I can tell you that all the training was really good. They had some really good trainers from all over the country. Some people had to be bored by my training class for 4 hours after lunch one day, lithium ion. So myself, Oscar, from the training task force, and Chief LaValle, we gave our class, and that was attended by about 60 or 70 people. So it was a really good event. Really good event. Yes, offshore hazmat. I was correct. April, May 2026, at the Resolve Marine Academy in Fort Lauderdale. So the other thing that was brought up, and Haley actually went to the meeting. I was out of town to the special operations meeting for Broward County to try to get some ideas on what they wanted to do for a large scale drill. Last year was the big Publix ammonia drill, and this year they're gonna concentrate on mass casualty decontamination, hazmat decontamination. I can tell you that decontamination from the hazmat side has evolved greatly throughout my career and how that's accomplished. So that is going to be the drill. I talked to Chief Nugent, who heads that committee and the 4 teams down here, just to try to keep an eye on the timeline, so we can use that as one of our deliverables. So what we will be looking for is some involvement from the people in this room. So if you're associated with a hospital, I haven't had a chance to discuss with Chief Nugent in depth on where they would like to have it, or if they wanted to try to do it in conjunction with a hospital and do it maybe at one facility one day, and then for the next shift, maybe do it in a different location. That would be good. Yes, sir.
I believe they did something like that, maybe 2 to 3 years back at Broward Health, Broward General. They did a class and they put a MCI decontamination at the ER.
Yeah, so what we did over the last couple years, the special operations team, it was the same but different. So a lot of the hospitals got new equipment, just like the fire departments did over the last couple years. And generally what happens, and I don't want to speak for all the hospitals, but what I've seen is the staff at the hospital gets a very small, if any, stipend to be assigned to that hazmat response. So they get all this brand new pretty equipment. The vendor does a training or some type of in-service, and then it gets put away in a closet or a trailer or somewhere on site. And depending on how robust their response team is for hazmat, they don't get a whole lot more exposure. So with Broward Health, what we did with Miss Kelly Keys, kind of coordinated with her facility and a couple of the other facilities, is we had the hazmat groups go out and kind of do a show and tell of their own equipment. So this is going to be a little bit more formal. So one of the things that we'll probably be looking for is volunteers that want to pose as one of the contaminated people. But we just need to figure out from the hazmat teams kind of what the objectives are. Once the objectives get set, it will kind of play into what stakeholders from the hospitals, communications, any private industry, whatever the incident is going to be, really what we need from this group. I don't think financially there's a whole lot for us to provide or that's even needed, because all the equipment should already be either in place with the teams or the hospitals utilizing. So it'd be basically testing a real world scenario. And the biggest thing that you look at, besides the actual can we make this happen and put everything together, is the capabilities to processing time, right? And how long it takes to actually do that stuff. So I will be asking you guys to be volunteers again. Seems to be a common theme today, doesn't it?
Sure.
So whoever wants to go get decontaminated by a bunch of guys in funny looking suits, and the decontamination, the technical decontamination that takes place, I can tell you, they try to practice it a lot in a lot of different drills. And they get it set up pretty quick, the way these manufacturers have these decontamination tents and systems set up. But once you start adding in a lot of people and having to, partially disrobe, or whether it's, figuring out if it's a dry product, it's a wet product, and then figuring out, for example, the hospitals, if we have a mass casualty incident of 75 to 100 victims, where are they all going? Because they can't all go to Memorial, or they can't go to UM. We have to figure out who's going where, et cetera, et cetera. So it can be quite painstaking to figure out, from what seems like a simple drill, get these people decontaminated, to exactly how it's going to happen.
When is that supposed to be?
We have to have it signed, sealed, delivered, and paperwork up to the state by June, correct, Haley?
30th, end of June.
So
Is the LEPC taking the lead on planning?
No, so for this to work, uh, really the most effective way, in my opinion, is, well, the LEPC never really takes the lead on the planning, is basically just stays involved with the teams. We need to figure out the scope of who's gonna be involved, what teams, the response teams, and what stakeholders. And then we see kind of where we fit in the puzzle from volunteer side, any other services that we could provide, and just doing communications, just like we did with the ammonia last year, and that grew into 15 different agencies.
Just as a brainstorming, I know you're talking about hospitals.
Yeah.
But I think also maybe talk to the Port Everglades on the cruise terminal. Could be a good on the roof place, weather doesn't.
Absolutely. I mean, the hospital component could be basically a transport, an arrival component. So, I mean, it could literally just be capability side, right? And just handle some of that stuff with, what's your capability that day? And they have a prep card and, radio dispatch and, or it could be a full scale where, people are actually transported, or further deconned using the hospital capability as well. There's a couple different ways it can be panned out, but for location wise, yeah, that's a great idea to do something at the port. Or maybe down at, what do we call the stadium? It's the Hard Rock Stadium this week. Is that what we're calling it? So down at the football stadium, could become a very big drill very quickly. So the bigger it becomes, the more volunteers we need.
You don't host hospital for this yet?
No, this is literally was brought up in the special ops meeting as, what drill do you guys want to do? What's going to be the most beneficial? And I followed it up with a couple calls. I called Virginia, I called Chief Nugent, and I called the chief from Hollywood to basically say, hey, let's stay on top of this because we have to have this done. And I'm sure they don't want to be out there in June doing a decon incident either.
We did decon full scale exercise last year, so I don't know if we'll do it again this year. We are in the process of developing a HURT team, the hospital emergency response team, like you said, the incentivized teams. Something we wanted to do for years, so that's in the works for us, hopefully. But we are doing a MCI in October. I think we're gonna simulate, it's gonna be a nighttime. I don't think we're gonna do a full scale on the decon because we did it last year, but I can get back to you once we kind of evolve into that more. But I'd love to get the LEPC involved in our full scale.
Sure.
It'll be a nighttime. I think we're gonna run it from 8 to 11 PM, just we've never done a nighttime exercise with our hospital staff before. It's a big focus this year. We're actually doing, I wanna say like 3 nighttime trainings. And then we'll tabletop in full scale, the nighttime team as well this year.
Very good.
So,
Yeah, it brings a couple more challenges from the response side and the setup side.
and they've been asking for
But you get
it.
to reach a whole different group of people working at the hospital. So.
Yeah, definitely. And they ask for it, they want it, they say the daytime staff are the ones that get to play, so they'll get their turn. See what they say
Careful what you
afterwards.
ask, be careful what you
Exactly.
ask for, right?
Exactly, we'll see what they say after.
Let's see, as far as exercise, let's see, hands-on decon truck, this is what we're looking at, so, it would be an original, initial engine company decon, I think that was brought up. Is whenever that they have the hazmat teams involved and we do a full technical decon and they show up with their big tents and all their equipment to show up. What happens a lot of times is we forget or don't take into account that originally when the event happens, it might be just a couple engines on scene and they're going to get some initial decon there, probably just from a hose line. Or there's definitely some ways that the engines could set up their own corridor using the engines and a couple ladders that people will have to walk through and get showered, segregated, and kind of triaged out, depending on what their potential medical issue is besides the exposure. And all that has to happen before the hazmat teams get involved. So I know they wanted to make that part of this too. So if that happens, I would assume that we will be getting wet at some point. So if you're a volunteer, bring your bathing suit. But I'll keep you posted. So the call for the exercise planning team. So I would say it's a pretty safe bet that we will definitely want the hospitals involved. So if you're a hospital representative, you'll probably be getting a call from either myself or from one of the representatives from the local hazmat teams. Just kind of gauging what they want for participation or maybe some input on the objectives and what you guys would like to see sometime soon. And if it grows, we'll definitely be reaching out for more stakeholders. If you think that you might work for a section here that should be represented in such a drill. So PIMSA, who gives us a lot of our grant funding, has approved for this year. Now, we definitely don't have funding to do all of these. But I can tell you one that we usually do every year because it goes to new hazmat technicians. We do it as part of the certification. It is 24-hour tactical air monitoring that goes on top of the probably 16 or 20 hours that they get in the initial training of 160 hours. A 12-hour 4-gas meter air monitoring for first responders. Alternative fueled vehicles specialist course that comes with some type of certification. The 1,000-gallon training center prop, that is a prop that would be used, and I think that's probably going to be identified as a high priority from the hazmat teams. They already had the training that we had Ron Huffman and his company come down and do some advanced propane training. As I told you, these men and women are going on these calls every day, multiple a day. Our men and women are very good at handling gas incidents of all types. However, to stay proficient, you need more training, and a lot of the stuff that Ron went over are kind of not just the run-of-the-mill calls. They're the what if everything goes wrong, or you have A, B, and C situation that you're used to handling, and you're getting hit with X, Y, and Z. So some really advanced techniques and liquid injection into propane and what to do. So his prop actually goes with the training that a lot of the teams in the area, not just the Broward County teams, has already had. Another thing that also got approved, probably won't be on our funding radar until next year, is a hazmat rehabilitation trailer. Speaking of incidents, this actually comes out of, it's always in the back of our mind, like I was just talking about working groups and working times in South Florida at a hazmat incident. But last year at the annual, the really big countywide with the hospitals and everybody else drill that was at the port, a lot of the firefighters were affected with basically elevated blood pressures, elevated pulse, couldn't really, after a rehab, be sent right back to work. A couple people near passing out just from doing the training drill, let alone being at incidents. So what was proposed was having our own hazmat rehabilitation trailer. Basically, that has the capabilities of cooling people down, giving them a place to isolate, and kind of keeping the hazmat personnel with the hazmat personnel and being all inclusive in that group. It's a wonderful idea. We found a way to do it a heck of a lot cheaper than some of the manufactured products that are out there. It's going to take a little bit of time. So with that, we weren't able to meet the timeline last year when we did have some extra funding. We couldn't put it towards that, but that's definitely going to be a priority. So really, the state did a good job, and I can tell you that Haley did a lot of work to make sure that she worked with the state, which can be challenging. at times with the auditors, the grant specialists to get these classes approved. The state acts as a pass-through for these fundings, that's federal funding that we qualify for. So everything has to be approved before you start doing anything with it. Otherwise, you run the risk of eating that whole bill and not getting funded for it, which we don't like to do. So we went ahead and got a lot more things approved than we could even afford with our grant money that we know is allocated to us. So looks like we have some decisions to make on priorities, but thank you for all your work on that, Haley. And with that, the next item is your report.
Yes, sir. The chair already alluded to it, but the hazmat symposium that was held in January, it had about almost 400 students that participated and 76 training sessions that the students attended. This South Florida LEPC, there's 10 LEPCs all throughout the state. The South Florida, we were able to sponsor 28 students. And I don't believe anybody in the room currently got sponsored. It was our hazmat team members, but from BSO, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, many departments, and we're currently working on reimbursements. We do use our HMEP grant, which the chair just spoke about. Those courses that he mentioned, the hazmat symposium, that reimbursement comes out of that pocket of money as well. So we do estimate somewhere between $25,000 to $30,000 will be reimbursed between those 28 students for this year's symposium. Then I'm gonna skip the ERP just to talk briefly about tier 2 reporting. So the deadline for the reporting is March 1st. If you are a facility owner, operator, or just a department that houses any hazardous materials, of course, your reporting requirement, the deadline will be March 1st. Just a reminder, using the E-Plan to submit that report, but also the LEPC welcomes any copy of the report, whether by email, mail. I have received a lot of emails asking how we, as the LEPC, receive that. Any way is fine. It's not a requirement to send it to us, but we would love to receive that information, keep it in our database. And then going backwards, the ERP, the Emergency Response Plan, which the chair also spoke about, we have a regional plan, and it gets annually updated. The annual update will need, for 2026, will need to be submitted by the end of May. And so because of this, we are opening up a couple of timeline dates. Today, we're going to be opening up for all you guys, all members, primary, alternates, stakeholders, even if you're not a member of the LEPC. If you are within the region and there is information, any updates, personnel, any procedures on what to do if there is something hazmat related, an emergency, we are going to be receiving those comments. So I will be, after this meeting, distributing to everybody the last year's version of the plan. And feel free from now, today the 18th through April 15th, to submit any comments that you have or information that you think can be included. As the chair spoke about previously, the ERP was downsized from a very, very large document. And I believe now we have about 40 to 60 pages. So I would just recommend to not maybe not add so many pages worth of information if it's not necessary. Of course, if it's necessary and we have to add on to the pages, that is welcomed as well. But so that's the major thing. We're opening up today for comments. I'm going to be sending out the ERP from last year, and then anybody that has anything to add to that, we welcome comments. And
so you answered my question. I was gonna say, so when is everyone gonna get a look at it? That's perfect. You're gonna send it out.
I will be sending it out, and then you have until April 15th. And then if you remember, we have who has presented before, Shannon Barrage, who works for Boeing, also has connections to NASA. She does it all. She is the one that helps us out and helped us with making the document a lot smaller, concise, but still with all the important information necessary. So we're gonna be passing on comments to her, so she does the bulk of that incorporation. Of course, we review it as LEPC, And then hopefully at our next meeting, which will be the third Wednesday of May, if everything goes according to plan, Shannon will present on what everybody submitted and what the annual update of that plan is gonna look like for 2026 ahead of our submission to the state that we have to do every year. That's all. Thank you.
So when you get it, look at it like this. Oh, man. This is only, I think it's like 60 something pages altogether. That's with the annexes and everything else. It's about really 40 pages of, and it's not too brutal. A lot of the sections may or may not apply to what you do as a stakeholder. But it is a very good document and a usable document. As I said, so last year that Shannon was the Yatabe Award winner, not only from our region, but the state basically wants to use our version as best practices for the state. Shannon did help with one of the other LEPCs in the past, and I think we benefited from that experience, and ours was even better. So keeping it concise. Just to give you an idea, I don't know if you guys remember that document was almost 300 pages. That's crazy. Don't look at it like, hey man, I gotta look at these 60 pages. Say, man, I don't have to look at the 300 pages. So give it a look if it applies to you. See if there's anything in there that is inaccurate, or you have any ideas, or just plain, hey, this should be like this should be like this, et cetera, et cetera. Due at tax time, right?
Yes.
Yes.
April 15th.
So everybody will remember. Very good. That it?
Yes, that is all.
All right. That brings us to the conclusion. So I'm gonna ask first the members. Do we have any member comments, questions, concerns? Anything for good and welfare? Anything that anybody wants to bring up?
Just wanted to let everyone know this group, UHealth is hosting ADLS, BDLS in March 4th to the 6th. ADLS is 1 day, BDLS is 1 day, ADLS is 2 days. I sent the information over to Haley. She'll distribute it to the group if anybody is interested in signing up for those courses. And best part of all, it's free. So they are covering the cost. You just have to drive down to Miami. So 3 day, 2.5 days. BDLS, the first 4 hours are online to take before you go to class. 1 to 5 on that first day of BDLS, and then I believe 8 to 4 the next 2 days. So she'll send out the registration links if anybody's interested in those certifications that are good for 3 years, I think.
If it's free, it's for me.
Exactly.
Free is a good price.
Sign up soon. Spots are filling up quickly. The coalitions have all distributed it. So spots are filling up quick.
Very good. Anyone else? Anything?
In the vein of classes, there's 2 that I want the group to be aware of, especially in this group. So Miami-Dade has a PER 211, which is a medical management of CBRN events. That's March 3rd and 4th. I know I'm stepping on your dates.
Okay.
But that class had low attendance the last time I talked to Miami-Dade and was at risk of being pulled. So medical management of CBRN events, it's on CERT track, SCRT track is the state of Florida training website. Another major class that I want everyone to be aware of is L449, March 16th through the 20th at the Broward EOC. This is the train the trainer to become an ICS instructor.
Mm-hmm.
So please take advantage of that class. It doesn't, FEMA kind of limits how many times you can put that class on. So we're doing a new system now where we're kind of doing a hub and spoke model, but one of the locations for it will be the Broward EOC. So local place, you take the class, then you get to be an instructor for your organization. You can teach G300, 400, all of those ICS classes. So please take advantage because we need more instructors down here. On CERT track as well, and that's March 16th through the 20th at the Broward EOC in Plantation.
So that was gonna be my question, Claudia, is I forget, the 449 is that, so it's a 4-day class?
It's a week-long class.
Okay.
So it's a train the trainer class, so you're up there and you're kind of showing that you can instruct, and then afterwards, you'll kind of be in our cadre to be able to shadow instructors and then work your way up to become a lead instructor yourself.
Yes, it's a hard class to get. It seems like whenever you're tasked with, hey, I need to get this class because I want to do X, Y, and Z, you can never find the class, or the class is very inconvenient to get to up to the Panhandle or wherever they're holding it. So to have it in our own backyard is
Yes, this is
very
the only like
advantage.
South Florida offering. So
When is the class again?
March 16th. So you won't see this class again until possibly the following year, but of course, everything happening with the federal government. So again, this is a FEMA class that they allow us to teach. So it has to be requested by them. We can't put it on whenever we want to. We can't put it on multiple places. They really like limit the amount of offerings that we put on.
That is, I'm assuming, on Cert Track
Yeah.
registration as well.
So there are a couple prereqs for it. So you need to have the new G100, G300 and 400. You need to take 141, which is an instructor development course. We just held it in Miami-Dade. I know there's a couple around the state going on, so that's G141. You also need G191. I know there's not a G191 between now and then, but Coast Guard people found a virtual offering that Oregon is having. So if you Google Oregon Emergency Management G191, it's an bright thing that you can log in. So they're doing a virtual 191 ahead of this course. And that's kind of the main requirement. I know 141 and 191 is the one that always gets people hung up. So there are 141s, that's the instructor development. If you already are an instructor, so you already had fire instructor 2, we'll count that. So if you have other instructor type certificates, work with us, and we'll take those instead. And then 191, and like I said, State of Oregon Emergency Management is putting on that class virtually. So if you look it up online, I was able to find it yesterday. If you can sign up and take theirs, that's happening ahead of this offering.
Is the virtual free also?
Yes, it should be.
Quick question, sorry, Claudia. The G191, I took it in 2012. Would that certificate still be acceptable?
I think they have if they have a newer version, then
No, right?
I don't believe so. I need to. I'll go with you.
Okay.
The
Well,
3
you're-
and the 4 is a challenge too. If that one changed a couple of years back.
That one
too.
has to be the new one.
It has to be
100%.
that one. We can definitely say, you need to get with that one, and that's, one of them is 300 is 3 days and 400 is a 2-day. But those are very good classes, though.
Jimmy, if I can weigh in on that.
Please do, Jamie.
So I actually took the L449 back in 2015, and I was told that I needed to retake it because of the 2019 updates to the ICS courses. So I don't know who asked a minute ago about that, but yeah, you're gonna have to retake the ICS courses to comply with the 2019 update, and then retake L449 if you want to keep instructing.
Got it. Thank you, Jamie.
Yes, sir.
So did you take it? What are we dealing with here? Are you gonna be in class? You gonna be my classmate? Or are you done? Yeah, I know he's pretending that he can't hear me.
I'm gonna be your classmate, Jimmy.
What was that?
I'll be your classmate, Jimmy.
Perfect. Come back to Broward. Broward misses you. All right. Moving from member comments, public comments, if you're not a member, but you're here or you're online, you got something to say or something to ask, now is the time, public comments. Who wants to just get out of here? You guys are all lying by not answering that. All right, administrative items. So on the website, I think Haley, you also sent out the CERC meeting materials,
The link.
or was that just to me?
The link, no, just a link to the members because there's a lot, there's a
lot there, yeah.
minutes from the training task force meeting, LEPC meeting, and then the SOAP meeting,
Just
and then as well as the presentations. It's just a lot of
the
documents.
CERC
so-
term
Yeah.
updates,
So-
package and everything else.
I did send a complete version of the agenda that everybody received in their calendar invite. There's a condensed and just a complete. And in there's some of these documents, but if not, using the links would be the best way to locate them.
And if you need to know how to comply with tier 2 reporting, or you run across a facility or somebody that doesn't know what their responsibilities are, the EPCRA How to Comply manual has been updated. It was updated last year. So link to that is also on the website. And the 2024 Emergency Response Guidebook, the ERG, and that gets updated every 4 years by DOT. I think they're saying next time around, and I've heard this for the past 3 editions, that they're not going to do printed versions, since we all carry phones with us everywhere. However, last time, I can assure you that we have printed versions. If you would like a printed version, I can tell you that in the south end of the county, they are stored at the Hollywood Fire Training Facility. There's probably about a pallet. If you wanted to, maybe some of the hospitals, or you got a lot of chemicals where you work and wanted to have some copies of the ERGs for your employees, we'd be more than happy to supply at no cost the ERGs. The 2024 is the most recent one. And on the north end of the county, Margate Fire Rescue probably has some, or we could just get some from Hollywood and get them to you. And the next meeting, South Florida LEPC meeting is scheduled for May 20th, 2026. And now the big finish. So I need a motion to adjourn. Pete made a motion.
I motion to adjourn.
And that's my second. Here comes the gavel. Thank you all for attending.
Have a good one.
All right, thank you.